Hi everybody, welcome back to the Chuck on Leadership podcast. Thanks for joining us and tuning in to listen today. We're talking about the 4 leadership principles. Last week we covered the topic, we are all leaders. There's 3 more leadership principles that are there, and this morning we'll be talking about leaders are always learning. So let me talk a little bit about how I believe learning is achieved and what my own personal commitment to learning to be a great leader is. And certainly I emphasize the learning part because by no means have I achieved a level of greatness or perfection in leadership. It's a constant journey of improvement for me, and I'm very committed to trying to learn to be the best leader that I can be. So how do we learn? Where do I learn to be a great leader? First is the world around me. I think that if you can approach the world with a level of curiosity, there's always things to be learned. And those things will teach you how to be a great leader, how you can lead yourself. You can learn from others and how they lead. And certainly it can come in some of the most interesting ways. Sometimes you can be talking to a 3-year-old and they'll teach you how to talk honestly and straightforwardly when someone needs to hear it. That's a leadership lesson. You can learn from conflict, maybe things that didn't go so well, and you can think about, hey, how can I learn how to do that differently? How can I lead myself differently in that situation? Or how can I lead the team that I'm a part of to prevent others from getting in conflict, or for clarifying their purpose, or to make some outcome happen that we weren't successful at this time around. And so my point is, the world around us can always teach us things if we're willing to be curious, if we're willing to ask questions of ourselves, and to be open to learn from our experiences. And I think oftentimes experience is the best teacher, in particular around leadership. Second big point for me is reading. I like to read. Some of the sources that I find good learning on leadership are obviously from leadership books that are topical about leadership. But I also can find it in biographies of others. Sometimes they're great leaders, sometimes it's a biography of someone's life, sometimes it's maybe a little bit more of a general development book or something that outlines history. Now, reading isn't for everybody, but for me, it's very impactful and allows me to continuously remind myself of the great leadership themes, to help me understand and learn from other great leaders, and to benefit from the experience of history and how others led through challenging times, whether they were good or bad. I think the last way that's really important to consider in learning and continuously learning to be a great leader is just in listening. Listening to others, listening to their experiences, understanding how they perceive the world, maybe understanding how they led through different situations, or maybe listening to gain inspiration from someone who had a really challenging problem but never gave up. What drove that person to continue on despite the fact it was really hard or painful, or just a really crappy experience? And what can you learn from that? If you can listen, oftentimes you can find what there is to be learned in a situation. Another way to listen is just audiobooks. I mentioned reading before. Often most of the material that's available in sort of written word that you can read is also available in an audiobook. And so you can go to the gym and listen to an audiobook or a podcast, which is another way to listen to others and share in their experiences of leadership. All those are opportunities to listen, and something that every one of us can just focus on and hopefully have an immediate impact on our ability to lead and how we show up. So I have a commitment to lifelong learning, and lifelong learning for me means learning to be a better leader and continuously trying to be the best that I can be. And so I'd encourage all of you to think about whether you want to make a similar commitment towards investing in yourself and becoming the best leader that you can be through continuously learning and continuously challenging yourself to learn and to improve. So do it for your own satisfaction, do it for your own well-being, do it for the good of your family, your friends, your team, whatever that may be. I'm sure that if you make an honest commitment in that way, you'll see some positive results show up in your life. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today. I look forward to talking to you soon, and bye for now.